I will share with you my story today on how I lost myself in motherhood but still found myself again. Motherhood changes you but doesn't erase you. I got married early. I always knew I wanted to be a young mom. I see a lot of mothers do this mistake again and again. They don't sustain their friendships at all. I asked myself one day, do I want my daughter when she grows up to think that this is the end of her life in a way, or it's the end of her career? Hi, my ladies. I feel like it's been a minute since we had a little chit chat video. I feel like I've been focusing so much on vlogs, which I honestly love filming, and I feel like it also gives you a little glimpse into my behind the scene life, unpolished things, which I feel like builds a deeper, more in-depth connection with you. But today I wanted to do a little chit chat video that kind of on a topic that's been on my mind so much lately, and I caught myself how far I have come. And I feel like it's so important as moms to share those little wins and ways of how to overcome certain difficulties that in the end we're all dealing with. They're all the same, okay? It's just also finding your own way of dealing with them, and maybe my approach will be helpful to you. Again, I feel like motherhood is such a special and very specific, varies from person to person topic. It's not one size fits all. So I will share with you my story today on how I lost myself in motherhood but still found myself again. Let's go. So I wanted to start with a little intro because I do feel like I have some new people here, or maybe my old people that doesn't know me too well. I'm a mom of two. I've been a model for a very long time. I started modeling when I was 13. I moved to US when I was 17. So I feel like I grew up so fast, and I got married early. I met my husband when I was 22. I was married almost right away. We had kids so fast too. And I feel like everything just happened so fast that I was ready for a kid. I always knew I wanted to be a young mom, and especially when I met a man who had it all figured out in his life, because my husband is older than me. And if I probably would meet somebody my age who would still be, I don't know, in college trying to figure things out in their life, probably I wouldn't have kids as fast. But my husband kind of had a different scenario in his life already, and he was ready to have kids. So I do feel like we kind of rushed into having kid, and it was such a blessing. And obviously, like, I look at my older daughter and I was like, I don't know how I lived without her. She's my teacher. She's so wise. She's just mature beyond her years. But when I was stepping into motherhood, I will tell you, I was kind of a child myself. I mean, 22 years old. Even so, I traveled the world. I had my own money. I had my own things going on, and I was living in such a big city as New York. I still felt like stepping into motherhood, it was a completely different thing. I also changed the town. Like, I moved from New York to Miami, which was kind of a switch for me as well. And it felt very lonely at first, because switching towns when you already had everything figured out there into new space, following your love. I had, of course, beautiful house, my husband, but I had no friends, I had no careers, I had no agenda whatsoever. And on top of that, I had a new baby, which also isolates you from the outside world as well. I mean, you know, when you have a baby, you are a lot at home, and you know, sometimes the motherhood, especially on early stages, can feel very lonely. And I think as somebody who has very high expectations for myself, if I do something, I do things to the max. Like, if it's a career, I go from 0 to 100. If it's a motherhood, I go from 0 to 100. And it's a good quality on achieving things, but it also can be such a tough moments where I believe that in order to have a longevity in anything, you just kind of have to pace yourself. It's not a race, it's a marathon. So I think I give too much of myself on my first child, on my first year of being a mother for the first time. I was so hard on myself. I felt like being a good mother, I had to be there every second of the day. I have to put my interest, my health, my everything, my friendships aside to just be fully present with my baby and being a mom. With that being said, the presence with your baby is important, but I came to the point that I burned down so quickly. I felt so empty on the inside. I was lacking on sleep. I was having a postpartum depression because I was lonely. I was tired. Despite the whole help that I had, I had a nanny and a baby nurse, I could not relax and use that help because I felt like if I was accepting somebody else's help, I was not good enough mother. So I think I came to a point where I just could not bear it anymore, and I suffered really strong and deep depression that I never experienced before. Like at the point that I was really worried for myself, I could not sleep at night anymore. Like I was just so restless. And I think that as being as self-aware as I am, I was like, you know what? That's it. I can't do that anymore. My cup is completely empty. I can't give the best of myself to my child. I have to do something with it. So I want to kind of wrap up all the key points that I used and I went through that helped me to rebound and find myself again. I think number one is prioritizing your health and well-being. No matter how present you are as a mom, is it a whole day or 5 hours a day, or I don't know, some days maybe it's 3 hours a day. If you feel miserable and you don't have energy, you cannot give your best self to your child. That's just a point that everybody needs to learn and realize, and it took me such a long time to realize that. I went to therapy. I was prioritizing myself again. I went to work out in the mornings. I started to cook again homemade meals and nourishing my body in a little bit better way to just slowly replenish all the things that I was lacking for this first year of being a mother. So slowly I started to get my energy back and feeling like myself again energetically, just like health-wise, because I'm telling you, I just felt so fatigued, a complete brain fog before, and just couldn't function. I was crying for no reasons. Obviously that led also to a lot of fights at home with my husband that was just completely baseless and unnecessary, but thank God for my wise and patient husband. We overcame this together. And I think also one part that I want to mention is just at some point giving clarity to your partner what you're going through will make a change, because if the partner is good and supportive, they will reach their hands and they will be more patient and understanding towards you in this moment. So next one I want to mention is a relationship and friendship. The relationship with your husband and friendship is so freaking important. I mean, again, I don't want to coming out from a point of view of judgment or saying that somebody does something is not correctly, but I see a lot of mothers do this mistake again and again. They don't sustain their friendships at all, and they don't prioritize a relationship with their partner as well. And you see a lot of divorces in the first year of parenthood, and you see mothers being completely lonely and don't have anyone to share their journey with. I feel like prioritizing friendships and any relationship, either with your parents or your husband, is so freaking important, not just from point of view of you being connected, and because the human communication and human connection is so important, such an important part in our lives, but also from perspective of showing your kids. And I think that will help me a lot to kind of see perspective this way and be more justify that aspect of being important in my life. Is like showing your kids how to build a good relationship with your husband is so freaking important. You never model with words, you only model with actions. Like my child seeing that my husband and I have date nights every Monday or every Tuesday, it just models them that when they get married, it's so important to nourish that relationship as well. The same goes with like putting yourself together. I mean, I'm going a little bit off the topic, but when I go out with my husband, I put myself together. I put a nice dress on, like them seeing that spark in me, I feel like they register it. Like I remember from my own childhood, like I remember how in love with my parents, and I still to this day feel like it was one of the best gifts that my parents giving me. It's their relationship. They always prioritize their relationship first, and that modeled me for life. what I have to look in my personal relationship as well and pick the right partner. The same goes with friendships. I feel like modeling again to your kids how to build good friendships, quality friendships, right? And also giving your children this sense of community, because I think with friendships also comes the community. Like all of my friends have their kids and our kids are friends together. We do birthdays together, we do travels together. And I have the same thing. Like out of my childhood, I feel like I have so many beautiful moments of my parents having that community and the kids within the community as well. And we had shared so many beautiful fun moments together and traveled and everything. So I think it's all comes together and something that your kids will take with them for life. And let's talk about the project and purpose. I feel like this is a big one for me personally. I wanted to give that key point to the last one because I kind of reconsidered my opinion on that point, because I'll tell you, I don't want to be judgmental to anybody because, as I said, it's not one size fits all. But for me personally, to feel complete as a human being and be in a good mood, because it all comes down to like giving your best self to your children and to your husband, you have to have confidence, you have to have your cups full, you have to have energy, you have to have all of these aspects together in order to give your best self to others. And for me to feel full and confident within myself is, I'm a very career driven person. For me, it's very important to exist outside of home, to have goals outside of home that I have to work towards. Otherwise, I don't feel fulfilled, and I feel like that also affects all other aspects of my life. So I used to feel so guilty to dedicate my time and myself to those projects that are interesting for me. I couldn't justify how a mother could be away from her child working on her project, because motherhood is obviously number one, but I realized I cannot be a good mother if I don't do those things. So now, as much as I love being a mom, I also prioritize the work on my projects, and it's been a really beautiful journey of seeing the growth of my career and my family being proud of myself and celebrating me, and all of my wins also have been so special. And the same thing, I think I started to look at it from the same view as on friendship and on health, that we model everything to our children. The same thing with that. I asked myself one day, do I want my daughter, when she grows up and she marries and she has kids, to think that this is the end of her life in a way, or it's the end of her career? Or should I model her that she can reinvent herself and she can still follow her dreams and follow her path side by side with being a good mother? And the answer is, I want my children to exist outside of home as well. I want them to be more than just a mothers in the future, right? I want them to be good mothers too, but I want them, if they want, to be able to chase their career and dreams. And I think as soon as I came back to my workflow as well and chasing the things I wanted to chase, I slowly started to build my confidence, and I finally feel like this year, 2025, I feel like myself again. And just for you to know, my older baby is going to be 7, my younger one is 2, so I still have small children. But just this year, after 7 years that I've had my first child, I feel like I'm fully myself. I'm happy with the flow. I feel so fulfilled in my career. I feel so fulfilled in my motherhood. It doesn't mean I have it all figured out. And there is a moments where I feel, oh shit, like I lose it. I lose the grip. I feel guilty as a mom. I feel guilty I don't do enough for work. But for me, it's not finding a perfect balance. For me, it's always to identifying when to shift gears on one side or another. Like if I feel the mom guilt kicks in, I was like, oh, okay, it's time to slow down. It's time to put my phone, put my emails, put my computer down. And Friday, I don't know, 5 p.m., my phone, my computer shuts down. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it's gonna be just full my mom, full presence, full on. And that truly fills my cup. And Monday comes and I feel fulfilled again in my motherhood aspect. And then maybe there's weeks where I'm fully in motherhood and home and organizing my life at home. And then I will be like, oh my God, I did not do enough. Like there is a pile of emails or pile of deliverables for my work and I didn't even touch it. And I feel guilty, and I'm like, okay, this is a week I'm gonna dedicate myself to purely to work to fill that cup too. So I think not being hard on yourself and being able to shift the gears to one side and another have been an eye-opening for me and made a big difference in my life, and having that flexibility. It's really all about flexibility. To close down this beautiful conversation together, I want to point out that every motherhood journey is different. I don't want you to think that my path, the only path that is right. As I said, I reconsidered so much because I actually have a few friends that are just mothers and they don't have careers and they feel so fulfilled, they feel full, they feel full of energy, they feel like they have it all together, and that's totally fine. Like, if you feel full being a mother, that's great. You should keep going with that, and you can always do a career after your kids are out of home. It's never too late. I believe that you can always reinvent yourself. But if you feel empty and you feel like you need to do something else, please do, because you don't have to even be a breadwinner, but even having like a hobby outside of home, I feel like can also help drastically to just like get out of the house, get a fresh air, meet new people, just have something going on in your life. And to wrap up this video, I want to say this quote that I read and that it sticked with me so much. Motherhood changes you but doesn't erase you, and I think it's so beautiful. It gives you such a challenge to then find yourself again. Like, you're never going to be the same after becoming a mother. You're never going to be the same, and that's a truth. But I feel like if you do the right way, if you keep searching for your own truth and your own way, you will come out of it in just such a blossom, because I feel like motherhood gives you such a strength and such a confidence and so many, I don't know, beautiful aspects that you can discover within yourself. I hope you love this little chit chat because I felt like I wanted to share this message here. And probably what I would encourage you to do after this video is share with me in the comments, what was your reinvention like after being a mother? Was it easy? Was it hard? Is there some tip you can share with my community on how to find yourself again? Because I do feel like more of those stories will lead to us not feeling alone. For women who are right now heavily in it, trying to figure it out, to maybe figure out easier their paths and see the future brighter. Thank you so much for being here on my channel. I hope you love this little talk. Let me know if you have any other requests or if you'd like to see more of these talks more often. I'm always open for suggestions, and I will see you on the next one, guys. Thank you. Ciao.